Let's talk about the science of becoming a new you. Neuroplasticity is one of the coolest aspects about the human brain and therefore about you. Neuroplasticity means that you are not fixed. You are not defined by your past. You are not doomed to repeat the same patterns forever. You are literally wired for transformation. Neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to reorganize itself to form new neural connections and to change its structure and function in response to experience, emotion, and intention. In other words, your brain physically changes based on what you focus on, what you feel, and what you practice. For centuries, scientists believed that the brain was static, right? That it remained the same. That once you reached adulthood, your neural pathways were fixed, they were unchangeable. But research in neuroscience and psychology has now made it undeniably clear your brain is a living, breathing, malleable organ that reshapes itself throughout your entire life. Every thought that you repeat, every emotional state that you dwell in, every behavior that you choose, all of it is sculpting your brain and it's carving neural pathways that eventually become your automatic patterns. You could say that your current self is a reflection of your past focus, and your future self is a reflection of what you focus on today. And this is the biology of transformation. Because when you change your mind, you're not just changing your thoughts, you're literally changing your brain structure. Every time that you choose presence over distraction and calm over chaos, truth over your people pleasing, discipline over falling back into old patterns, your neurons inside your brain, they are firing differently every single time. And neurons that fire together, they wire together. The more often that you practice a new way of thinking and feeling and behaving, the stronger those neural connections become. And over time, your old survival-based pathways, they weaken through disuse, and your new empowered pathways, they become your default. But here's what's crucial to understand. Neuroplasticity is not just intellectual, it's emotional and embodied. Your brain doesn't rewire from words, it rewires from experience. And the more emotional charge an experience carries, the faster the wiring happens. That's why trauma imprints so deeply because it was intense. And that's also why true healing happens when you bring the same level of emotional presence to your new patterns. To properly heal, you have to feel your way into new circuitry. Every time that you breathe through your fear, every time that you stay grounded while you're doing something new and unknown, every time that you embody safety while stepping into expansion, meaning expanding your comfort zone, meaning stepping into unknown and uncertain territory, that's neuroplasticity in action. You are literally teaching your brain and body a new way of being. From a biological standpoint, your brain is constantly pruning and strengthening neural connections. Pathways that you use frequently get reinforced. Those that you ignore, they will eventually dissolve. And this process is called synaptic pruning, and it's your brain's way of keeping you efficient, right? So the more you focus on what you don't want, the more your brain strengthens that network. And the more you focus on what you do want, embody it, and act on it, feel it, the more your brain devotes energy to that network instead. You are always wiring something. You're always manifesting something in that sense. The only question is, what are you manifesting? What are you wiring? What are you creating inside of your brain? But you have to realize that the choice is fully yours. Always. No matter your circumstances, no matter what you think. From an energetic and spiritual standpoint, neuroplasticity is the science behind manifestation. Because your brain doesn't just record the external world, right? It creates your perception of it. Your default mode network, your reticular activating system, your limbic system, all of it filter reality according to what your brain expects to see. And those expectations, they are built through your repetition. When you emotionally rehearse your desired identity, so when you feel as if your new reality is already true, your brain begins to wire that identity as your new baseline, right? As your new default state. And it starts to see the world then through that specific lens. It starts to notice evidence that matches that. And as your perception shifts, your actions follow as well. And your actions, of course, are what materialize that internal identity into physical form. This is the exact reason why I use visualizations as my main rewiring tool, because first off, it's so easy to learn, and yet it's so powerful when you are able to sustain it long term. It literally creates wonders, things that you thought were not possible if you apply it correctly, of course. But this is exactly what I teach you inside my Coming Home to Yourself membership. This is also why embodiment work is the most effective form of subconscious rewiring. Because you're not just thinking differently, you're teaching your nervous system to feel differently, right? And that's what it is all about. You're pairing new thoughts with new sensations, new emotions, and new actions at that. And that's what seals neuroplastic change. Your brain learns best through congruence, through coherence, meaning when your mind, body, and energy or soul are giving it the same message. That's why inside my Coming Home to Yourself membership, I don't just teach the science and what I've learned in my psychology degree. I teach you how to live it. Because once your body starts to believe what your mind wants, that's when everything changes. Think of it this way. Your old self was a collection of practiced thoughts and emotions and behaviors, right? You repeated them long enough for your brain to call them you, who you are. So if you want to become someone new, someone who's grounded, someone who's confident, empowered, unstoppable, all you have to do is practice being that version of you long enough for your brain to call that you and who you are now. And the fastest way to do that, obviously, is to embody it daily, to breathe like her, to speak like her, to make decisions like her, to move, act, eat, walk, love like her, dress like her. Because again, your brain doesn't know the difference between imagination and actual experience. If you emotionally experience something vividly enough, repetitively enough, your neural networks will wire as though it's real. And this is what I call identity shift work. This is what that embodiment work really is about. And that's the bridge between the science and manifestation, between biology and becoming, between the psychology and the embodiment. Neuroplasticity explains why mindset work works only when paired with embodiment. Because affirmations without emotional truth don't rewire anything. That's why, for most of you, these techniques didn't work. But when you say an affirmation, do a meditation, do the breath work, the visualization, the vision boards, the mindset work, the inner child work, the shadow work, all of these methods and more that exist out there with presence, and when your breath slows and your shoulders drop, your heart opens, your body feels safe, and your emotions are intertwined and active and increased and heightened, then the words and the intellectual knowledge become a lived experience. Your brain then marks it as real. You're not just thinking the thought anymore, you're becoming it, you're embodying it, you're being it. Now, there's also something profoundly humbling about neuroplasticity because it reminds you that the same brain that wired trauma can wire healing. The same system that once protected you through fear can now empower you through that self awareness and that embodiment. Your body was never really failing, right? It was just waiting for new instructions to be given. And when you give it that instruction with consistency and compassion and emotion, it will rewire in your favor. This process takes patience though, because at first your brain, or better said, your old identity, will resist change. It will happen. Remember, familiarity equals safety. So the key to lasting change isn't to force it, it's simply repetition in safety. You teach your system that the new way of being is not dangerous. It's safe. You make peace familiar. You make confidence familiar. You make abundance familiar. You make love familiar. You make a lot of money familiar. You make genuine love familiar. You make truth and honesty familiar. You make discipline familiar. Anything that you want to make familiar, you make familiar. And the moment your nervous system recognizes that those things are safe, it stops clinging to the past, to your past conditioning. It stops needing to protect you from your own evolution because you taught it something new. And from that point on, your brain begins to automate expansion. Healing stops being effortful and taking a lot of effort and being hard. Embodiment becomes your new natural state. And the same biology that once kept you in survival now starts working in your favor. And it's guiding you toward that coherence and that creation and that alignment that you want without resistance. And this is why I always say that self mastery is not really about controlling your mind, it's just about training your brain to work for you and not against you. It's about understanding that your thoughts are not the enemy, your ego is not the enemy. They're all just echoes of your old wiring, of your shadows. And you don't need to fight them, you just rewire them through that awareness and repetition and feeling and embodiment. And that's what embodiment does. It turns information into transformation. So when you think of neuroplasticity, I want you to remember this. Your brain is listening to everything that you think, to everything that you say, to everything that you feel, and everything you repeatedly embody. You are sculpting yourself in every single moment. You are the artist and you're also the clay. You are not a prisoner of your past conditioning. You really are the conscious creator of your present and future identity. And every breath that you take, every emotion that you integrate, every time that you choose truth over fear, you are literally reshaping your brain and consequently your reality, what you're experiencing. Neuroplasticity is not just science, it's not just psychology, it's self mastery. It's the biology of becoming. It's the evidence that healing is not only possible, but it's inevitable when you decide to live in coherence with who you truly are, when you decide to become your most authentic self. And again, authenticity is the highest frequency you can be on. Your brain is ready to follow your lead then. Your body is ready to trust your direction that you give it. And your soul is ready to expand into everything that you came here to be. So, the next time that you doubt whether you can change, remember that your brain already knows how. All you need is repetition and emotion and safety. Teach it who you are becoming, not who you were. Feel it, visualize it, embody it, live it. Because the moment that you do, the chemistry of your brain changes, which means that the chemistry of your being changes. And your life changes with it. Your reality changes with it. That's neuroplasticity. That's embodiment. That is self mastery. And that's how you become your most confident, healthy, and healed, and most empowered and magnetic self from the inside out. And that is exactly what I'm teaching inside my Coming Home to Yourself membership. Links in my bio underneath all of my videos. Get inside.